All right, we were in the hymn 361 by Vishwamitra, and let us start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravir edi vedasyama ani sthaha Shrudhamme ma prahasi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu bhaktaram avatu bhaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I got a new insight from this mantra again. I'm always bringing something when it comes new. The expression in speech for the spiritual path becomes the means of, like svadhyaya, yes, you express the higher consciousness in the word. The word is that power of consciousness which is activated through expression. And once that expression is made, it becomes a bridge to the innermost experience, to bring it to the surface mind. So this bridging the inner and outer by the word is actually completing the sacrifice. It makes the sacrifice possible. It is done by the word alone. But in this spiritual uh, setting, if we are looking for the spiritual um, realization. But if what happened then what happened is that the word was used as a token for arranging all outer activities. And then it became so remote from the from its true nature and true purpose. Yeah? It became a means by our arranging, organizing, and completing some activities. Activities became real, the word became secondary, so to say. It's a planning, it is something envisioning, conceptualizing, but not real. But for the spiritual life, it is the only thing which matters, actually. The word. You cannot be real by doing things outside. The doing outside is actually quite misleading. We think that by doing outside or pretending to be someone outside, we are inside what we are. No, it is what we say to ourselves, what we speak to our own, how we express our inner consciousness. This is what is real. This is the being, the inner being, which is not yet embodied in the outer. And therefore he says, Shrutam me ma prahasate. May that what was revealed to me in the word should not leave me. Anena ahoratran samdadhami. By that I collect days and nights. It is the means which can collect in time all possible experiences and developmental paradigm. We are developing through the means of the word. This is something new. I never actually didn't dare to go that far. But if you think of Svadhyaya, Svadhyaya is the only way of making sacrifice possible. And I was talking to you about this already not once, that the whole Indian tradition is built on the word, on the Vedic Rishi's word. It is not something else. It is that word which expresses that consciousness which has to manifest. Hmm? And we read Savitri. Why we do what is happening then? Partially it happens. It embodies, the consciousness is being embodied through the word and by the word. That's why the whole Indian civilization is so dreamy. They are dreamy. They are all in the word, in their own stories. They are living their lives because there is consciousness there, much higher than what actually outer consciousness can offer. So for the spiritual life and connecting to the spirit, the word is the means. There is no other means. Doing things is okay, it's very good, but really expressing that consciousness in the word is something else. As Sri Aurobindo says, the word that knows was revealed. The word that knows. It is the word that knows. So knowledge comes with the word and not word from the knowledge. So to say, when we speak, we reconnect to something higher, and that is how it happens. Great. So we stopped at number 3. I covered the first two. I will go through them to connect to the rest of the hymn. Usho vajeva vajini prachetach sto mamjushasva granato maghoni Purani Devi Yuvatif Purandih Anuvratam Charasi Vishvavare. Dawn, richly stored with substance, conscious, cleave to the affirmation of Him who expresses thee, speaks about you, expressing you in His consciousness. O thou of the plenitudes, goddess, ancient, yet ever young, thou movest many-thoughted, following the law of the activity of thy activities, O bearer of every boon. Usho Devi Amartya Vibhahi Chandraratha Sundrita Irayanti Atva Vahantu Suyamaso Ashvah Hiranyavarnam Prithupa Jasoye. Dawn divine, shine out immortal in thy car of happy light, sending forth the pleasant voices of the truth. May steeds well guided bear thee here, who are golden, brilliant of hue, and wide their might. These horses, swiftnesses, these powers of consciousness, they bring her in, they connect her through these realms which separate us from the transcendental, from the mother. Ushach pratichi bhuvanani vishva urdhva tishtasi amritasya ketuh samanamartham charaniyamana chakram iva navyasi navyasi avavritsvam. Dawn, Confronting all the worlds, thou standest high uplifted, and art their perception of immortality. Do thou move over them like a wheel, and you day traveling over an equal field. Samana martham, through the common, as if through the common field, through the common object. Charaniyamana, moving. Chakrameva, as if the wheel is moving over everything what comes under the wheel. Navyasya avavritsva. Um, Interesting usage of the word pratichi, Usha pratichi bhuvanani vishwa. Shubhendra puts here the confronting, pratichi, pratyanch. Pratyanch means also the western. Usha pratichi, so to say, moving to the west. She moves from the east to the west, confronting darkness. Because darkness is there in the west, which is not enlightened by the light of the east, of the rising sun. So the whole light moves from the east to the west. That's why she's confronting darkness or moving towards the west. So west is darkness. We know. East is light. And she is also Urdhva Tishtasi, you stand up. Urdhva, above. Amritasya Ketu, the light or the perception. As Sri Aurobindo says, art, their perception of immortality. Confronting all the worlds, thou standest high uplifted, and art their perception of immortality. This is amazing because there is no such thing here. But Sri Aurobindo puts it into this Bahuvrihi thinking, into this compound thinking, as she is the ray of the immortality, literally. But he puts it that you are their perception of those worlds which she is confronting. You are their perception of immortality. So he includes them whom she illumines, includes them as if she is their perception of immortality. And it is totally true, but it is not in the text. She is our perception of our immortality. Here it is said that she is simply the perception of immortality or the ray of immortality, the sign of immortality. So every time the dawn is rising, we get this reminder that there is immortality, there is light. The light is the reminder of the truth. We are so used to light already. We think that light is something part of the seeing, but truly speaking, it is a constant reminder of the truth, of consciousness, of perception of immortality, that immortality is possible.
Vladimir,
Mm.
Amritasya Ketu, what happens if I read it as immortality's perception?
Immortal what? I didn't hear.
Immortality's perception.
Yes,
Instead of
yes, it is a perception of immortality. Amritasya. Amritam is immortality.
so immortality's perception.
Yes. But it
Okay,
is
so
their perception of immortality, of those worlds which receive her. They see her as their own perception of immortality. This is the illusion which Sri Aurobindo puts into it. So every time we meet the dawn, we get this sense that we are the immortal beings, that we have this perception, higher perception. We nearly forgot about this, and then she reminds us about the truth.
Okay.
Avasyumeva chinvati maghoni ushayati swasarasya patni suarjananti subhaga sudansa antad devach papratha aprithvivyah. Dawn in her plenitude, like one that lets fall from her a soon robe moves. The bride of the bliss, creating Svar, perfect in her working, perfect in her enjoying. She widens from the extremity of the heaven over the earth. These are Sri Aurobindo's translations. Ava Syumeva Chinvati, interesting. Ava Chinvati is like dropping off, casting down. Casting out Syumeva, something which was sewn, yes, which was made, the same etymology, not a Syumeva, Syuneva. So, which was stitched, the cloth, the garment. So basically, she drops off the garment, Magoni, the bride of bliss, Svasarasya Patni. So dawn in her plenitude, Magoni, that's how he translates Magoni, like one that lets fall from her a sewn robe moves. She moves and the robe falls off. So she is not dropping off. She is kind of by her moving forward into the more and more light intensity of light, kind of drops naturally. The darkness of the robe is falling off from her. You remember Sri Aurobindo uses this imagery in Savitri, yes, and when the light poured as into the empty cup and reclining body of the god, yes, it kind of revealed that in the first canto. I don't remember the exact words. I will have to look into this. Reclining. This is a imagery taken from here, actually. This is what Sri Aurobindo is, as a poet, feels so deeply that. Yes. The darkness failed. Yes, well, here it is. It is the dawn, the symbol dawn, first canto. One loosened corner, windowing hidden things, forced the world's blind immensity to sight. The darkness failed and slipped like a falling cloak. This is the falling cloak slipping from the body, from the reclining body of a god. Can you imagine this vision? Reclining body of a god rising and the falling clock falling. So this is, I think it is very similar to this verse. She is also creating Svar, interestingly. Svar is the overmental realm. That realm which meets where the supramental light meets the darkness, where the darkness pervades the sun and the rays of the sun are being created. And these rays are, the Sri Aurobindo even calls Svar as the realm of the rays of the sun. Not the realm of the sun, but the realm of the rays of the sun. Svar Jananti, she is generating Svar because she comes to the darkness. She is Pratichi, meeting, fronting the darkness. It is she who generates Svar. She is the first who brings the light of the sun into the darkness. Subhaga Sudansa. She is perfect in her working, Sudansa, perfect in her enjoying, Subhaga. She widens from the extremity of heaven over the earth. Shubindu puts over the earth, but literally it is a antad divach, papratha a prithivyach antad. So from the extremities of the heaven to the extremities of earth, or beyond heaven and earth, she is spreading. It's also very, very possible to translate. She is spreading beyond heaven and earth. Sri Aurobindo decided not to go that way because she widens from the extremity of heaven. Interesting, extremity of heaven, from the ends of the heaven. And where are the ends of the heaven? They are transcendental, over the earth. He prefers this way. So those extremities of heaven are falling upon earth, coming to earth, embracing earth in its light. Avachinvati, this particular formation is used only in this hymn. Notice, only in this verse, in the whole Indian literature. Chinvati literally means connecting. It's for Sanskrit, I'm speaking now, for Sanskrit students. Chinoti, Chinvati, she is focusing, gathering, putting into one place. But Ava, prefix down, putting down, so to say. Achavadevim ushasam vibhatim pravo bharadvam namasa sovriktim urdvam madhudha divipajo ashret prarojana ruruche ranvasandrik. Meet ye the dawn as she shines wide towards you. Such a beautiful verse. Meet ye the dawn as she shines towards you. And with surrender, bring forward your complete energy. Such a refreshing vision. Exalted in heaven is the force to which she rises, establishing the sweetness. Exalted in heaven is the force to which she rises, establishing the sweetness. She makes the luminous worlds to shine forth and is a vision of felicity. This word acha, this is a Vedic word actually, acha. You will not find it in classical Sanskrit much, but then it pops up in the Prakrits. Acha means directly, directly, concretely, and that's acha, yes. Achavo devim ushasam vibhatim. You, so directly towards you, devim ushasam vibhatim pravo bharadvam namasav suvriktim. Suriktim. It's yes, perfect. It's kind of combination of rik and su, and v appeared as some strange sound in between. Exalted in heaven is the force to which urdhva madhudha divipajo ashret prarocana ruruche saran vasandrik. She makes the luminous worlds, Rochana, these three luminous realms of Svar world, triple over mind, intuition over mind, and supramental over mind. These three realms, she makes these luminous worlds to shine. She intensifies them for us when she reaches out to our earth, to our physical being. She intensifies these worlds of overmind and is a vision of felicity. Ranva Sandrik. Samdrish is the word of complete vision. Ranva is something to enjoy, blissful, complete vision. She enlightens, she ignites the three Rochanas for us, establishing Madhu Madhudha in the high heaven, Pajach, Ashret, exalted in heaven, is the force to which she rises, establishing the sweetness. Urdhvam Pajach. Pajach is something extended, something very substantial and substantially extended. So she is exalted, ashret, in the highest, in the substantial extension in heavens. And by that she establishes the honey for us all. Honey is the delight of existence. She brings that delight, transcendental delight with her. Or soma, that very soma we discussed so many times. Ritavaridi vo arkaicha bodhi, arevati rodasi chitram asthat, ayatim agne, ushasam vibhatim, vamam eshi, dravinam bhikshamanach. This is very typical for Agni. He is always dravinam bhikshamanach in many hymns. By heaven's illuminings, one perceives her a bearer of the truth, and rapturous she comes with its varied light into the two firmaments. From dawn, as she approaches, shining out on thee, O Agni, thou seekest and attainest to the substance of delight. Ritavari, the bearer of the truth. Divo Arkaicha Bodhi, she woke up, so she was awakened by the heavenly flames, Arkaich, or by the heavenly words she was awakened. Arka is the flaming word also, from Rik, by the hymns. By heaven's illumining, Sri Aurobindo puts, one perceives her. A bearer of the truth. A body, he translates differently. Literally, it is she is awakened, aorist form. And he says one perceives her. He puts it into the passive voice from Rudbudh, to perceive, not to awaken. Sri Aurobindo modifies the translation in his way, which is much more useful for us in psychological terms. So we perceive her, yes. By heaven's illuminings, one perceives her as a bearer of the truth. By those lights, what she brings, by those hues, we perceive her as the bearer of the truth. What I was trying to say, that with light we see and we know that the truth is possible. She is the bearer of the truth. And rapturous she comes with its varied light into the two firmaments, Rhodosi. Revati, she's Revati, rapturous. She brings this intense bliss from Reich, luminous bliss she brings with her into the Rhodosi, Chitramasthat, establishing the, Sri Aurobindo says, with its varied light into the two firmaments. I would say, yes, coming as the conscious illumination. Chitram is usually translated as varied light by everyone, and you will find it in the dictionary, but interestingly enough, it is from root chi, chitra, like mantra, yeah? Tantra, chitra, um, kutra, and so on. Tra is the location of chi, location of that consciousness, and that's make it luminous or varied, with varied light. Why varied? Because the of a mental light is varied light. You remember how my mother describes many different colors in the of a mind, and that is that varied light of the swar world, chitram. Most probably from there, this word chitram is used in the Veda, and go forever is used as a varied light or as the picture later. But it is from root chi, that which brings or which locates consciousness, where consciousness is being located. So in that sense, Arevati Rodasi Chitram Asthat. Yes, she establishes this of a mental consciousness here as varied light, as the hues of light. Ayatim Agna Ushasam Vibhatim, and Agni comes to her uh, approaching Ayatim Ushasam, shining wide. Vamam she. He goes to her. You, O Agni, go to her for Vamam, for the delight. Dravinam bhikshamanach, begging of some substantial delight. Or Vamam Dravinam. So these two words are corresponding. Begging the delight which is substantial. Sri Aurobindo puts it, attains to the substance of delight. It's a very often used word, dravinam, in the Veda. Later, it doesn't have that meaning because it's from rudru, to flow, to run. Something which is flowing, something which is living and has no form, as it were, but it is transactional, as it were. It comes and goes, and still it has a substance. That thing which comes and goes, full of delight, Vamam, or bliss, he is begging from her. He wants that nourishment by delight, by the honey. Ritasya budna hushasam Ishanyan vreshama hirodasi avivesha mahimitrasya varunasya maya chandreva bhanom vidadhe purutra, putting forth his impulsions in the foundation of the truth, in the foundation of the dawns. Their Lord enters the vastness of the firmaments. So the Lord is there behind the action of the Divine Mother. Vast the wisdom of Varuna, of Mitra, as in a happy brightness, orders multitudinously the light. So behind the action of the Divine Mother, the dawn, there is Mitra and Varuna. Varuna is the purity and vastness of the divine being. And Mitra is the luminosity and harmony of the divine consciousness. This is the Lord who, with her help, enters into this manifestation. She brings him in, putting forth his impulsions in the foundation of the truth, in the foundation of the dawns. Their Lord enters the vastness of the firmaments. And these firmaments are heaven and earth, our mental and physical consciousness. What a beautiful poetic description, yeah? Of the most complex spiritual experience. I do not know. Yeah, this is the end. No, one more. Yes, this is the end. This is the last verse, seventh verse, where the Lord himself is coming down and acting through the dawns of our embodied state. So here I will stop and open for the discussion or insights. Please go ahead.
Vladimir in Savitri, from the end of page 3 to full page 4 and a little of 5, it describes hymn number 456 so beautifully.
Yeah, you can read for us if you want to. It would be very appropriate now.
Should I read?
Yes, we should hear this.
Okay, I'll read. The darkness veiled and slipped like a falling cloak from the reclining body of a god. Then through the pallid rift that seemed at first hardly enough for a trickle from the suns, outpoured the revelation and the flame. The brief perpetual sign recurred above, a glamour from unreached transcendences, iridescent with the glory of the unseen, a message from the unknown immortal light, a blaze upon creation's quivering edge. Dawn built her aura of magnificent hues and buried its seed of grandeur in the hours. An instant visitor the Godhead shone on life's thin border. A while the vision stood and bent over earth's pondering forehead curve, interpreting a recondite beauty and bliss in colors, hieroglyphs of mystic sense. It wrote the lines of a significant myth, telling of a greatness of spiritual dance, a brilliant code penned with the sky for page. Almost that day the epiphany was disclosed, of which our thoughts and hopes are signal flares. A lonely splendor from the invisible goal almost was flung on the opaque inane. Once more a tread perturbed the vacant vase. Infinity's center, a face of rapturous calm, parted the eternal lids that open heaven. A form from far beatitude seemed to near, ambassadress twixt eternity and change. The omniscient goddess leaned across the breadths that wrapped the fated journeyings of the stars and saw the spaces ready for her feet. Once she half looked behind for her veiled son, then, thoughtful, went to her immortal work. Earth felt the imperishable's passage close. The waking ear of nature heard her steps, and wideness turned to her its limitless eye, and scattered on sealed depths her luminous smile, kindled to fire the silence of the worlds. All grew a consecration and a rite. Air was a vibrant link between earth and heaven, the wide-winged hymn of a great priestly wind arose and failed upon the altar hills. The high boughs prayed in a revealing sky. Here, where our half-lit ignorance skirts the gulfs, on the dumb bosom of the ambiguous earth, here, where one knows not even the step in front, and truth has her throne on the shadowy back of doubt, on this anguished and precarious field of toil, outspread beneath some large indifferent gaze, impartial witness of our joy and bale, our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray.
Yeah. This is that awakening ray, Ketu, the perception of immortality. Beautiful. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It fits absolutely to these imagery of the Veda. Yeah, one cannot speak about these things without the poetry, because how can you really explain it? That it should contain it in some way, yeah? Not just graphically say or explain what happened to you in terms of doing, but in terms of being. How can you explain that?
Vladimir, I noticed something in Sri Aurobindo's use of the word express,
Mhm.
the first verse. I don't know if the connection is there in the Sanskrit, but in the English, express means both to speak and to press out. And so it made me think about the word and soma together.
Yeah, it's a good thought. Maybe not even soma, that to press out, but express, like to bring that inner experience or need to the surface. Yes, it's kind of press out, and most probably it is the same process soma is being expressed. Yeah. Um, so we can be impressed and expressed. Yes. Impressed by the spirit from within, from above, and expressing it to the surface consciousness, which is the sacrifice, by the way. We must bring it to the surface. This is beautiful. This passage is marvelous, simply marvelous. And the whole canto is called the symbol dawn. We could even start a little earlier when first time she then in the something in the inscrutable darkness stirred. That is from that time she starts her movement. So the whole canto can be reviewed in the light of the Veda. Mm.
Vladimir, when we were doing the marriage hymn, whose marriage were we talking about? I forgot.
Surya. Surya
With
is the
Soma. With Soma.
with Soma. Soma is the husband, yes. Oh, Rashi is with us also. Hi, Rashi. Long time no see.
Too lost in the doing, Vladimir.
Doing is this is
Had to come back to the being.
yeah, Shaktis are usually carried away a bit with doing. This is how we do it. And then we forget everything.
And especially if you're living in Oroville, you'd forget everything. You lose sense of everything outside in the world. You have no clue. So it's it's 5 million things happening on every single day.
Right,
The poem and the part, the next step you do not know. Living like that 24/7.
right.
I was unwell, so I could be stationary, so I could join. And I've been wanting to for long, and I've missed the family, and I'm so grateful just to hear your voice and just to be here. It's a blessing. Thank you and an honor.
Thank you for coming. Yes, we've also missed you. Yeah. Great that you're in Auroville. It's wonderful. Where else one should be? Either in Auroville or somewhere in the center doing things. Yes. This is our small community here. We are together studying, working together. This is our also community in La Grasse. So Chitra is also showing herself. No? Chitra, hello.
Hello, Vladimir. Today you gave me another meaning of my name, which I never knew.
Oh, yes, you are Chitra, of course. Yes.
I always just very merely interpreted that as a picture. But there is so much more.
But Vikshi is,
Thank you.
yeah. There is Usha with us also, Gunhild. Gunhild is, her name was given to her by Guru Usha. So we have the Dawn and Chitra we have, and Rashi we have. So all these luminous beings are here. Wonderful. Great. So we finished this hymn. We read Sri Aurobindo's commentary before, so I will not go into it again. And next time we will take a new hymn. Next time we will miss one day because there will be some event here in Nashville which we will attend, some conference. So I will be not at home. So we will reconvene on within 2 weeks, next week. And we'll start.
Vladimir, are you in a hurry today?
No.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So I have a problem in the imagining of Varuna and Mitra. See, somewhere I read, maybe in Sri Aurobindo's books only, that Varuna is the god of very strict iron laws. Of course, it ties in with purity, but the image is of somebody who is very bound to promises, binds to promises and bound to promises, and does not deviate from the law. Whereas Mitra, I imagine somewhere as a friend, a lover, a, an approachable being. Now, how is this really related to Varuna's purity and Mitra as luminosity? Can you just help me bridge these two
Yeah,
gods?
yes. The thing what you refer to is post-Vedic, much later, yes. So Varuna shifts and becomes this severe god who is punishing and judging, and he has the news as Yama, and he's mentioned with Yama together. And Yama also changes from luminous godhead to from the savior of the soul to the killer of the body. Everything is shifts, drifts away from the original. But Varuna is from root Vri. Varuna. He covers like all enveloping sky. Everything is held within him. It is that the utmost being which holds all beings within its beingness. This is that vastness and purity of the divine existence. The pressure which he generates is because of his purity. His purity is so absolute, so to say, that everything which is impure will be immediately suppressed, pressed, and punished, and tortured, and removed and purified. And that purification is very intense and very absolute. It's like somewhere Mother describes that if Mahakali would come to earth, she would destroy earth. One touch of Mahakali's foot on earth will demolish earth because earth cannot bear that intensity of truth, of purity, of love. So since we are mixed beings, it's always dangerous to call for Varuna. Vasishtha is Varuna's disciple, and he always follows Varuna and always begs him to forgive his impurities. So to allow him to be kind of give him time to to deal with those impurities and not to be very severe with his judgment. But this is original. He is the Sat, Sat Chit Ananda. He is Sat, Mitra is Chit. Yeah, so these are the guardians of the truth, as Sri Aurobindo translates them. There are four of them: Varuna, Mitra, Yaman, Bhaga. These are the four kings. They are all kshatriyas. They are the kings. They are not Brahmins, notice. These are the powers which are holding on to their law of existence. This is the supreme law of oneness of existence and purity of the divine being, which is to be there, without which there will be no correlation with any beingness in anywhere, in any being or any self-born. So this correlation with the divine purity is actually the only compass which shows us to the true north. Yeah, otherwise we are lost. You can move anywhere. So everything is being, but that
How is Mitra a friend?
Mitra became friend later. Mitram in a new term. Mitra is the god from root ma, to measure, because this consciousness measures out the infinite being into the forms of existence, events, beings, and so on. It's a manifesting power, so to say, creating power, shaping power. And his luminosity is friendly to man because it is not demanding the purity. It is a perception. It's kind of, and especially in this divided world where the knowledge and power do not go together, and power is so delayed from a perception. So he can dare, for example, to reach to the highest perception, Vedic perception, without being there. This is Mitra. But we cannot dare to become, to be that. Yeah? And that is Varuna.
Okay, thank you.
Mm. So knowledge is actually first, as Sri Aurobindo says in the Vedic paradigm, the knowledge first and power next. So the power follows the knowledge. In Tantra, it is different. It is the doing, the power is first, and knowledge follows. Experience is gained by doing, by exercising, by practicing, which became actually the paradigm of the Western world also. They are doing this all the time. They are learning by doing. And which makes this paradigm, learning by doing, makes me feel very bored. Yeah. I need to know first before it is done. So I'm in my preference, yes, when people start doing and then figuring out what it means, that kills me. I think, how can you do unconsciously things and hope to arrive at some consciousness? And when they arrive at some glimpses, I think this is so poor, such a poor result for so much time and energy spent. This is how I see it, feel it. And so for me, it's much better to go through the word, to reach to that luminosity and then see what can be done, maintaining that luminosity. This is the applied spirituality in my view. But for many, it is not so. Applied spirituality is just do it and figure out how things are. Learn by doing. Fake it till you make it. This is what it is. It's exactly that. Yeah, do it, do it, do it. And then you will arrive anyhow. Even if you don't want to, you will arrive. And it is true, it works. But it's not for everyone, I guess. It's for 99% of people.
Vladimir,
Mm.
isn't Varuna all about vastness and wideness? And the mother has always spoken about this quality as something very important and therefore opposite of narrow-mindedness and extra, very, very particular about this way something should be done, but be broad about. So I'm not able to reconcile between
It is
the
that vastness.
strictness of Varuna.
Strictness in when that narrowness enters into that vastness, it is being
Ah,
forged immediately and being kind of dissected into the vastness. So nothing is left of that being separate and small. So in that sense, it's very painful for the small being to face that vastness. It's like the air of the high peaks is very difficult for people who live in the low regions. When they rise, that air is unbearable.
yeah.
So Varuna is actually the number one Aditya. Without Varuna, there is no Mitra, there is no Aryaman, there is no Bhaga. Varuna is the definition of all of them coming. They are all because of Varuna. That's why this order, Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga. The Varuna exists by himself. It's the being, self, the power of the self.
Thank you.
Interestingly, the Vri root, Vri Vrenoti, to choose, also to cover. Yes? And there is another deity, which is anti-divine deity, Vritra, from the same root Vri. So you see that for Vedic rishis, it's not really, they are discovering they are discovering the functionality of the Godhead. Varuna is all-enveloping being, and Vritra is doing the same, but it obstructs. Because when you choose one part against the other part, you obstruct the... So from the same root, you have two different meanings. Choosing, and choosing, what is choosing? You take one portion from the rest, yeah? Choosing. So if you think functionality of choosing, what I choose this cup instead of this one. So I take one away from the rest. So this is something where obstruction and covering both are present in the one meaning, choosing. There is another word, vara. Vara and varenya, tat savitur varenium, bhargo devasya dhimahi. Varenium is the most choosable, the most wanted, something. Vara is also the best. Vara is also the bridegroom, chosen one. So you have this vri from three many words, but with that central meaning of selecting something, embracing something away from something, or embracing all, as Varuna does. The whole manifestation is within him, within his being. Being is first, consciousness is second. Consciousness is of being. Yeah? Consciousness is conscious of being, not of itself. And when consciousness is conscious of being, it manifests or emanates the delight. When being is self-aware, it is full of delight. And that's why we have Sat Chitananda or Varuna Mitra Aryaman Bhaga. Bhaga follows. Bhaga is the outcome of the conscious existence. By the way, we spoke about this, that this Bhaga is a tapestry of the world. It is everywhere, yes. Only where we are not conscious, we are suffering. When we are widening the consciousness, we are blissful. So it is something which is the background of our existence. And we are looking for constant increase of bhaga, of the delight. And for that, we need to widen the scope of consciousness. Great, we can stop here. It's 11 o'clock. And yes, we will meet in 2 weeks then. Let me close with the mantra. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.